Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei was the red and white dragon emperor and got Harem Sona Serafall. Part 3. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. 8 days later after they began their training. 9th day. Everyone made an amazing progress during their training. Kiba manages to increase his capabilities as a knight, also increase his balance breaker time limit up to 3 hours, and he learns several sword skills while sparring with Meguri and Issei. While Meguri she recently able to use the 6th form of 10 commandments, called Melfurse the vacuum sword. Aside from that she gains more sword-based skills from Issei. Yui managed to increase her boost limit up to 30 times, yet she hasn't reached the balance breaker, yet she manages to learn a few close combat skills from Issei. Aside from that her endurance and her strength were increased tremendously. Issei knows that she needs something to a little push before she can able to use the balance breaker. While Rias and Akeno managed to increase their demonic power and they were able to use high-level Fauna card at the 6th day and they learned several useful spells. Issei was amazed on those two since Sona was able to use the high level at the 5th day. He was expecting they would reach that level at least less than a month before they can use it, since from his old world Sona's counterpart and her peerage went through the harsh training, but they only reached the mid-level before facing Riser. On Kaneko's case, her training with Senjutsu went smoothly aside from that she learned a few moves from Issei. And lastly Asia. She follows Issei's advice to meditate to increase her demonic power. She also manages to increase her support spell capabilities, and she learned a few offensive spell from Issei, since he told her that she'd need those spells in order to protect herself. Everyone from their group went rest except for Issei. He decided to walk around the private resort until he reaches the gazebo, and he found Rias reading a book while she dressed in a red negligee while wearing glasses, and he was gazing at her voluptuous body. Issei thought says, "Oh Satan, that wonderful body and that eye are gazing me. Man, I'm so lucky to see this wonderful view. I'm saving this in my brain memory. Data saved." Well, Issei enjoying the view until Rias noticed that he was staring her. "Oh Ice, I didn't see you there enjoying the view," she teased. "Yes, wait, no I didn't." Issei flustered while his thought says, "I did enjoy the view Ria-senpai, thanks for the feast." She giggled. "Oh, what are you doing here?" Rias asked. Issei scratches his head. "Well, I can't sleep Ria-senpai, so I decided to stroll around until I found you here." "I see, well I'm the same as you that I can't sleep, so I decided to take some fresh air and read this book to peace of mind." "I see you're nervous about the upcoming raiding game." Rias nodded yes, since it is my first time to participate. "Well, I can see that. Since my old world, her counterpart feels the same as you do." "I know since you told me about your first raiding game. I know that we would win since you're here to help me with my problem with Riser, but I felt something uneasy when I heard that Riser was chosen as my fiancé. Yes, I think Otu-sama and the others chose him in case something like this was to happen. They chose Riser, so I will have no choice but to marry him. Even if it becomes a match between households, they knew that there was no way for me to win. In chess, you would say they tricked me. A swindle. I know. Since this arrangement is annoying me," Issei said in an annoyed tone. Indeed, when the raiding game became popular, the ones who climbed up the most is the Phoenix clan. There weren't that many battles among devils until the game was introduced. In a game where the king also participates, the strength of Phoenix became clearer. Phoenix clan is the leading group among the strongest class. Immortal. Devils realized how terrifying this power was for the first time. Issei raised his eyebrow. "Immortal? Ria-senpai, you should know that there's no such thing as immortal since Phoenix clan, aside from being pyrokinetic user, they have that absurd fast regeneration, and that's why they quite invincible due to that regeneration. I know that since our option on the upcoming raiding game is beat him with overwhelming power or crushed his mind, since making him surrender is completely out of the option due to your absurd idea." Rias pouted. "Oh, come on Ria-senpai, where's the fun of that if that chicken surrender?" "I have no idea what are you thinking right now Ice." Rias sighed. "Anyway, I know that you hate that chicken Ria-senpai, but can you tell me and why you're against this marriage?" "I'm a Gremory." Well, you certainly are." "No. I didn't reintroduce myself. I'm a devil from the Gremory clan, and that name will follow me to wherever I go." "Do you hate it?" Issei asked. "I feel proud of it. However, this is also something that is a burden to me. Everyone looks at me as Rias from the Gremory. I can't have them look at me simply as Rias. That's why I'm enjoying my life in the human world. They don't know about the Gremory, the devil. Everyone looks at me as who I am. I really like that feeling. I never felt something like this in the devil society, and I never will now on as well. The only time I can enjoy my life as myself is when I'm in the human world." Rias has a distant look and she also has very sad eyes. I see, just like her counterpart in my old world. Eh? Wait, you mean that Sona's counterpart thinks the same too? Issei nods yes. That's the reason why I asked you about that at the first day of our training regime. I see, I want to be with someone who will love me as Rias without the fact that I'm a Gremory. That's my small dream I have. Unfortunately, Riser only looks at me as Rias from the Gremory. And he loves me as Rias from the Gremory. That's why I hate it. But still, the pride of being a Gremory is very important. My feelings may be complicated, but I want to cherish this small dream I have. I see. Ria-senpai, to tell you the truth, I'm starting to like you during our stay here. Rias was surprised of Issei's confession. Really, Ice? Yeah, you were nice to me, not only that, also the rest of your peerage, since I already aware of that burden you have. Ice, can I ask you something? Rias asked. Sure, what is it? Do you consider having a harem? Issei was surprised on Ria's questions. Well, yeah. I consider that to have one. Honestly. Since that. Was I'm aiming for. Well, his thought says, why is she asking for that? Wait. Don't tell me that she wants to be part of my harem. Ria smiled. I see, do you consider adding me to your harem? Issei was surprised. To be honest with you, Ria-senpai, I was considering that, but I want to make sure that your feelings about me is genuine. Well, his thought says, this is so unexpected. Well, honestly, I like Ria-senpai, but not because of her oppai. For some reasons I kind of see her as Sona's counterpart, yet she's completely opposite in so many ways. But honestly, I really consider adding you to my harem, Ria-senpai. What if my feelings about you are genuine? I will gladly accept you with open arms. Issei said the honest answer. I see, tell me, what do you see me as? Rias asks, and she wants to confirm that what Issei saw her as. If you think that I liked you because you're a Gremory, then you're completely wrong, Ria-senpai. I like you as Rias, since I don't really care about your nobility. Well, I said the same thing on Sona's counterpart. Issei said honestly. Rias hugged him. That make Issei surprised. He didn't expect that Rias liked him. You know, Ice, that's the word I wanted to hear. Rias smiled. Are you sure this, Ria-senpai? Ooh, Ice. Stop calling me senpai, it's starting to annoy me. Call me Rias instead. Rias pouted. Are you sure you want me to call you that? Rias nods. Of course, my Ice, I really wanted to call me that. Okay, as you said so. Rias, wait, did you just say my Ice? Issei was surprised. Rias hugged him again. Yes, why not, Ice? Since you did calling Sona as Miss Sona accidentally, but for me, I decided to call you that on purpose. Issei smiled. I see, well, I can deal with that. Honestly, I am happy if Sona calls me that. Oh, don't worry about that, my Ice, I'm sure she might calling you that in the future. I hope it happens soon, Rias, since Sona is very important to me. Because of her, I managed to move on at their counterpart deaths. In exchange, I will give her love and care she wanted, yet I have no clue what to do with Sarah, since I haven't seen her yet since I arrived in this world. Issei said. Well, that is true. I wonder if Serafall-sama knows that you're engaged with Sona. Issei shivered. I'm sure that she going to kill me when she knew that news, since Sarah cares her a lot and she wants to do lesbian things to her. Yeah, I can see that, but I'm sure Sona will do something about her, one-sama, since Sona will protect you from harm. I know that, but honestly, Rias, having a Mayu as my future lover is kinda difficult to get her, but I will try my best to make her happy, and later on she will develop her feelings to me. You're such an honest devil, Ice. Anyway, about the match with Riser, Rias decided to bring back the topic earlier. Oh, the match against that chicken and his peerage. We should not worry about that since I'm confident that our team will win, just trust me on this. Rias smiled at him. I know that, Ice. You have a plan to beat him, right? Issei grinned. Yes, I have, Rias. If I have a plan how to beat him, if you leave the strategy to me. Well, Ice. I'm listening, tell me, what are you planning? Well, Issei explains his plans how to beat Riser and his peerage. After Issei explains his plan. Ice, are sure about this? You're going to let his pawns come to our base and let them promote and face them alone? Issei nods. Yes, that is my plan. While I'm facing the pawns, then our group will move and face the others, since I have a hunch that Riser's little sister won't fight us. And why do you think of that? Well, I see her as their strategist of that chicken peerage, so all we need to do is crush their strategy and show him our absolute power to them. I see, then I and Asia will be assisting our group, right? Issei smirked. Yes, that's the plan, Rias. So before the match, everyone needs to know this plan I made before we face that chicken. Very well, then I will inform everyone before the match, then Rias said. Issei yawned. I guess it's time to get some sleep for me. Good night, Rias. Good night, Ice. After Issei left the gazebo. When it's over, Ice. When this over, I will visit your room every night. Rias smiles. Then she decided to leave the gazebo and have a sleep in her room. The next day, 10th day. The last day of their training regime. Everyone assembled outside the building. Issei says alright guys, this is last day of our training regime, but on this day I decided we should do light training before we go home. After that tomorrow we have some discussion about my plan on against that chicken's peerage. Everyone was chuckled when he said chicken. Hiba, Meguri-san, I suggest you two should combine your powers when you face the chicken's knights. Combine our powers how? Meguri asked. Hiba, you can summon a field of blades right using sword birth, am I correct? Issei asked. Hiba nods, yes I can. Wait, are you telling that? Kiba grins, he knew what Issei planning, I see. Issei smirked, yes Kiba, that's I'm planning for when you face their knights. You can explain to Meguri about the details. Very well then. Well Meguri-san, what Issei planning is? Kiba told about Issei's plan, then Meguri grins. I see, I never expect that would work. Issei, I wonder who teaches you about strategy. Meguri was curious. I have my own ways Meguri-san, since I just took a strategy lesson from a certain person, and you know who it is. Meguri knew he was talking about Sona's counterpart. I see, no wonder you managed to think of about this plan. So anyway, does Kaichu knows this? Since you never told us you were able to use a strategy on this matter. Issei scratches his cheek, well not yet. But I'm sure Sona will know this later on. I see, anyway I forgot to tell to that, congratulations Issei, you won Kaichu's hand in marriage. Issei flinched, man that's a low blow Meguri-san. Hiba chuckled, I never knew you were engaged to Sona Kaichu. Issei. Well, honestly it was unexpected Kiba, since I was surprised they have that tradition in order to marry someone from their clan by defeating them in a chess match. Issei sighed. So you're not happy about this? Kiba asked. Issei points himself, me not happy? Are you kidding me? Honestly, I'm so glad that chess match happened. I see. Very well then I guess we should start our training. Kiba put in at his battle stance. Yeah, let's get to business Issei. Meguri is ready and she put in her battle stance. Trace on. Issei summons a regular sword, then he smirks, very well then show me everything you got Kiba, Meguri-san. 2 hours later. After he finished his spar with the knights, then, later on, he was sparring with Yui and Kaneko, and Issei was about to finish their sparring with Yui and Kaneko. Okay girls, that's enough. Issei decided to finish their spar. Huff, I never expect you were that good at close combat, Issei-kun, Yui said. Well, honestly that's the only thing I'm good at without using my sacred gears, Yui-san aside using the swords. I see, well, we better retire for a moment, let's go Kaneko-chan. Yui decided to leave. Yes Yui-senpai, Kaneko follows her. Yui and Kaneko left the training field. Issei was surprised on those two when those two were closed. Well, it doesn't matter as long those two cooperate each other in the raiding game, those two will be fine. 2 hours later. Issei trained Akeno, Asia, and Rias from their phonic art lesson. After that Issei decided to stop whatever they're doing. That's enough girls. That's it for our last day of our training. We better rest and prepare ourselves tomorrow's match against the chicken. I really thank you for teaching us about phonic art. Rias thanked him. It was nothing. Rias, since I just did what I can to help to your peerage. I know anyway, time to pack up our things and go home. Everyone nodded and they go to their respective rooms and pick their belongings. A few minutes later. Everyone packed up their belongings since they're going home. Issei and Meguri had packed up their belongings, now they were waiting for Rias and her peerage finished their packing. Finally we're going home. Meguri said. Yeah, we're going home Meguri-san, I'm sure that Sona and the student council has missed us during our 10-day training regime. I know anyway Issei. What is it Meguri-san? I really want to thank you for making me stronger and getting used of this sword you gave me. Meguri smiled at him. No problem Meguri-san, since we're in the same peerage after all we might face Ria's peerage in the future. I know that Issei. Rias and her peerage came. Ready to go home, everyone? Rias said. Everyone nodded. Well then let's go home. Rias used her teleport magic to send everyone back to their respective homes. Sitri residence. Sona and her peerage were waiting for Asia, Issei and Meguri return until they saw them. Welcome back you three. Sona greeted them. We're back Sona Kaichu ni sama. Issei, Meguri, and Asia said. 1 hour later. After they chat with everyone, then Sona asked Issei to go to the library to discuss each other, yet they didn't know Ike heard their conversation and they were followed until they reached the library. So Ice, how's the progress you made on Ria's peerage and Meguri? Sona asked. Well Sona, they made amazing progress during our training days. I see. Tell me how many days that Rias and Akeno before can use high level phonic art. 6 days Sona, you still the fast learner on those two. I see, by the way. Did you know about? Issei interject her about your clan traditions. Yes, I'm aware of it. Sona was surprised. Wah. When did you? I asked Rias for that. I see. Do you hate me for what I did? Hate you? That thing would never happen in my life Sona. Then you're going marry me? Sona was blushing on the last part. Issei nods yes Sona I will marry you, since our feelings are mutual and don't worry, I never think of you as her counterpart. I can assure you. Sona felt relieved that Issei didn't think of her as her counterpart. I guess the 10 days without seeing me made you think about it. Yeah, since I can't stay in the past forever so I made a choice that I never regret. I see. So did you have a plan how to beat Phoenix's peerage? Sona decided to change the topic. Issei smirked, yes I do Sona. Care to tell me what are you planning? Issei shook his head Sona forgive me, I won't tell you about my plan against the chicken you will find out tomorrow. I see you should rest now since you have a match tomorrow. I know Sona. When this over would you go out with me? Issei is asking her for date. Are you asking me for a date? Sona was surprised because Issei was asking her for a date. Issei nods yes Sona I'm asking you a date since I want to know more about my fiancé. Sona was blushing fine I will go out with you. If you manage to win the game. Issei smirked really? Alright. Now I have a motivated to win this game just watch me Sona. When Issei and Sona leave the library Ika came out from her hiding. This is interesting Issei is asking Kaichu for a date if he wins the rating game, this is going to fun. Ika smirked. The next day Kuo Academy Occult Research Club. 1½ hour before the match begins. Everyone is assembled. Okay everyone is here. Yes everyone is here Ria said. Okay, everyone. Don't be surprised if my plan is absurd my plan is. Issei explained his plans. After they heard his plan everyone, except for Ria's, were surprised. Issei you planning to let all of his pawns come our base and promote it into queen and face them all by yourself? Akeno asked. Issei nods yes Akeno-san that is my plan. Then the rest of us will focus on the other piece except on the pawns and that guy. Yui asked. Yes since the others are a little threat to us honestly, but Rias and Asia will be there. Hiba and Meguri-san you two will face the knights. You can count on us Issei, Meguri said. Yes, we leave that to us. Kiba said. Okay Yui and Kaneko you two will face the rooks Issei said. Leave to me Issei-kun we will smash those rooks. Yui said. You can count on me. Kaneko gave Issei a thumbs up. Asia and Rias you will deal the bishops, but still I highly expect that Riser's little sister won't fight you too, but don't let your guard down. Rias and Asia nodded. You can leave that to us Rias said. I will do my best and Asia said. I know you will Asia Issei pats her head. And lastly the queen. Akeno you can deal with her right? Akeno nodded yes I can deal with her since I want to try my fauna card against her. I see anyway I have a hunch that she has the phoenix tears since she's the ace of that chicken, if you manage to force her to use those tears, I'm sure that she's going to force you to retire before that happens. Use your holy lightning to defeat her if that happens the chicken will go desperate measures, but I highly doubt that will happen since that chicken is too arrogant to do such a thing, am I right Rias? Rias nodded yes Riser is too proud of himself to be desperate since he thinks that no one can beat him. I see. Akeno noticed something I never expect you and Rias will become too close quickly during our training time at the resort. Well, you see Issei explained why he became close to Rias. After he finishes explaining everyone was surprised. Boy. Issei are you really taking that path become a harem king Meguri said. Yay. Issei frowned. Does Kaichu approve this matter? Meguri asked. Issei nods yay as long she's the main wife next to Sarah. Rias and her peerage were surprised. I can't believe that Sona approved it. Rias said. How did you manage to convince her Issei? Meguri asked. Well at first she was strongly against it yet I managed to convince her that she will be the main wife next to her sister so that's how I get her approval. You're the worst Issei senpai Kaneko said a cold tone. Indeed the worst. Yui said it in white tone. Issei struck down by those words. Ifufu I wonder if you have a slot for me? Akeno asked him seductively. If our feelings are mutual Akeno-san. I see I will look forward on that since I wanted an affair with you. An affair? Seriously? Then two magic circles appear Issei recognize it, those two are Gremory and Sitri clan emblem, and he saw a man with shoulder-length crimson hair, and next to him is a short woman with black hair tied in twin tails, while wearing a Mahu Shoujo outfit, and she's quite a busty. Pun intended. This is unexpected Sarah and Surziches came here to see, since my condition is quite insane after all. Not only that oh, my Satan. Sarah is so cute in Mahu Shoujo outfit. Issei thought said. Are you Hyoudou Issei? Surziches looked at Issei. Yes, I'm Hyoudou Issei. Surziches Lucifer-sama. Oh, you aware who I am? Issei nods yes since Ona-sama and Ria-sama told me. So you are Sotan's pawn? Serafall asked. Issei nods yes Sarah-chan I'm her pawn. Serziches was surprised that Sona's pawn called her like that. Serafall was surprised to call her like that, and she likes it. Oh, I see, I like that attitude of yours, Ice-chan. Issei smiled. Oh, trust me, Sera-chan, you gonna like me more. I see. Anyway, despite that, we didn't meet until now. Why did you ask me to permit to use your sacred gear? Serafall asked. Well, Sera-chan, I have my reasons and you will find out soon, since I'm going to show you how I'm going to beat that chicken when we get there. I see. Anyway, why did you put yourself at disadvantage settings? Oh, that. It's quite simple, Sera-chan. If I use promotion, I can assure you that the match will utterly one-sided for us, so I decided to give them a bit fighting chance. Serafall raised her eyebrow. And why is that? You will find out on the rating game, Sera-chan, when I ask you to allow me to use my sacred gear. Okay, then. I kinda envy that Sotan found her pawn, but mine is still missing. Don't worry, Sera-chan, I'm sure that your pawn will come for you sooner or later, am I right, Meguri-san? Meguri nods. Yes, he's right, Leviathan-sama, your pawn will come to you, I'm sure it. Well, her thought says, well, he's already here since Issei wants you to be surprised. I do. Issei, can I? Serziches is about to ask. Issei interject him. Please call me Issei or Ice Lucifer-sama. I see. Anyway, Ice-kun, I want to know why you said you want to use an artificial sacred gear. Honestly, Lucifer-sama, I want to test my works on the chicken's peerage. Serziches was surprised. Did you just say you want to test your artificial sacred gear against his peerage? Issei nodded. Yes, Lucifer-sama. Ice-kun, tell me, do you have a connection with the Grigori, especially to fallen angel Governor Azazel? Serziches asked him a serious question. No, I don't have a connection with the Grigori, especially to that guy Lucifer-sama, yet I met one of their high-rank officials during my travels in Europe. I see. And who is that person? Her name was Kirch, but she prefers as known Kurenai Kusanagi instead. I see. You met the fallen priestess of Grigori. Yeah, I was surprised to meet her there, Lucifer-sama. Since after I saved her from the group of rogue fallen angels. Care to tell me about that? Well, sure, Lucifer-sama. Issei tells his encounter with Kurenai. After Issei told his story. I see. You just did the right thing, Ice-kun. Serziches was satisfied to hear his story. Yay, I know that, Lucifer-sama. Well, Asia and I managed to learn a few spells from them before we go separate ways. I see. Wait, did you just say you and Riatan New Bishop learned a few spells from her? Issei nods. Yes, I took a few while Asia learned almost everything from her, since she was still a human before she joins Ria's peerage. His thought says, what the hell, Serziches, you calling your little sister Riatan? I see. Can you do me a favor? Sure, what is it, Lucifer-sama? Serziches whisper him. I heard that you're having a harem. Would you mind adding her to your harem? Issei knows who's that person he asking to. Oh, that. Don't worry, Lucifer-sama, she will be in my future harem as we speak. Well, his other thought said, wait a minute, how did he know that I'm planning to have a harem? Did Riaz tell her brother about this matter? Nah, I don't think so. Is he a psychic? Serzich grins and grabs his shoulder. Then I can entrust you to take care of her, Ice-kun. You can count on me, Lucifer-sama. The girls are wondering what are they talking about. After Issei talked with the Mayus, they decided to leave. 20 minutes left before the match. Issei looks at everyone and they seem uneasy since it's their first rating game after all. Then Issei thinks something until he pulls a small speaker out of his dimensional bag, then he played a music that makes everyone surprised. Now playing Born Legend. Kuya wo kakeruke's ga makayajeru kai suna. Mayajeta sora no kanata nae itsura rikishi ga matsu. Izutsuku ao kodo shika amoi wo tsuterezu. Yasuragi wo matsu seed nakuchiri isogu mono moeru. The wind, wishing through the wilderness, brews up a red sandstorm. Beyond the sky that we're gazing up at, history is waiting for our command. For some, thoughts can only be conveyed through hurting one another. And then, unable to find tranquility, they quickly perish from the world. Yasashisa wa tate nai nari tsayosa wa tsurugi nai naru. Antu no atami wo shiriba subit nai mezumeru chikara. Tenderness will become our shield, and power will become our sword. Once we've known true pain, we'll have the power to understand everything. Tsumeu tame nai naamu tame nai kureami wa kanarazu kuru. Adaku tame nai isu tame nai sakebi nai narutoki ga kuru. Ijeki no naka kibu no naka anachi no aimi wo obot. Anada dake na urusiritaru densetsu ga ima hajimeru. Yes, so that we'll be lost, so that we'll be troubled, darkness will surely come. In order to embrace, in order to love, the time will come for us to shout. Within lamentation, within hope, we learn the meaning of life. The legend, which only you may carry on, will begin now. The toba yoru no hate nai kokoro wo suteta yunai. Hajakuna jinjitsu dake wo sono mi wo mitsumi ida. Baruka nai tsuzuku toki mo ian nai wa naranai. Yagate wa kono ti wo hanara nada wa aiku no deshu. In the depth of the night, as though you had thrown away your heart. You fixed your staring eyes to the lonely reality. No matter how long time may elapse, it cannot last for eternity. Eventually, you will probably let go of my hand and go far away. Ida shisanai shibarit nakishite shimame nai. Sono ti wo furuhara kodo ga shita saigo no akashi. Bound by love, before I lose everything I have. By shaking off your hand is the final proof of my past love. Sat abadatsu nara shinjiru nara amoid nai tachidamarazu. Tikau no nara hashiru no nara osur mo yuragi mo sutit. Irajiri demo nikishimi demo kizuna dato iera no nara. Wakarenasai samikinasai watashi nato wasarenasai. If you're journeying, if you have faith, then don't be stopped by your memories. If you will make an oath, if you will start running, then cast away fear and hesitation. If even betrayal or hatred can be considered a form of bond, then please understand, please turn away, and please forget me among other things. Sumeu tame nai neamu tame nai kureami wa kanarazu kuru. Adaku tame nai isu tame nai sakebi nai narutoki ga kuru. Ijeki no naka kibu no naka anachi no aimi wo obot. Anada dake nai urusiritaru densetsu ga ima hajimaru. Yes, so that we'll be lost, so that we'll be troubled, darkness will surely come. In order to embrace, in order to love, the time will come for us to shout. Within lamentation, within hope, we learn the meaning of life. The legend, which only you may carry on, will begin now. The music ends. I hope you guys relax from listening to that song. Issei said. Yeah, we really needed that Issei, but honestly why you play that music? Meguri asked. Well, this is my way when I feel uneasy after hearing that I feel relaxed and calm. Well thanks Issei for lessening our uneasiness since we needed that before we fight that chicken. No problem, I was really intended to do that since I feel uneasy too even though I have experience at raiding games from my old world. I see, well thanks again Ice. Issei gave Meguri a thumbs up. 20 minutes later. The wait is over, that match is about to start. It's about time. Everyone, please head to the Magicircle. Everyone gather to the Magicircle after Graphius-san urges them to. Also, once you get transported, you cannot use the Magicircle until the game ends, Graphius said. They were transported to Replica of Kuo Academy. Replica of Kuo Academy. Hello everyone. I am Graphia, a maid from the Gremory clan, and today I will be the arbiter of the raiding match between the Gremory clan and the Phoenix clan. Issei says so it begins. Everyone remember our strategy. Since the chicken has to give us a field advantage, and he's going to regret this. Everyone nodded and yet curious why he said that they will have a field advantage. In the name of my master, Surzich's Lucifer, I would be keeping my eye on this match. By using both Ryo-sama and Riser-sama's opinion, we created this battlefield which is a replica of the school, Kuo Academy, which Ryo-sama attends to in the human world. Hey, Ice, how did you know that Riser will choose our school as the battlefield? Riaz asked. Well, I hunch of the chicken is underestimating us a lot, so he chooses the academy as our field advantage. He thinks that we won't provide him a challenge, Issei said. I see, and he's going to regret it, right? Riaz smiled. Issei smirked. Yes Riaz, he's going to regret that. The location where both teams were transported will be their base. Ryo-sama's base would be the Occult Research Club's club room located in the old school building. Riser-sama's base would be the Student Council's room located in the new building. For the pawns to use promotion, please head to the enemy's base to do it. Issei scowled. Grrr. That chicken using the Student Council room as his base. I know what you feel, Issei, you can beat the shit out of him for using the council room as his base. Meguri said. I know, thanks for reminding me, Meguri-san. Also, dude, Ryo-sama first time participating in the raiding game, she will give a handicap by allowing to have 2 mercenaries on her side were accepted by both parties. Meguri Tomo, Knight of Sona Sitri, will be placed as Ryo-sama's second knight, while Issei Hyoudou, pawn of Sona Sitri, will be placed at the second pawn, with 3 condition settings. The Harem Sona's peerage room. I hope you know what are you doing. Sona feels uneasy about this matter. Don't worry about him, Kaichu, I'm sure Hyoudou-kun knows what he's doing, Tsubaki said. Since you promised him you will have a date with him, Aika said. Sona's peerage was surprised on Aika said. Aika-san, is that true? Yura asked. Aika nodded. Yes, it's true since Issei asked her for a date. Oh. That's not fair, Kaichu, Momo pouted. Back to the replica of Kuo Academy. His first condition is he won't use the promotion even he reached the enemy base. Second is he needs to ask Serafall Leviathan-sama to allow him to use his sacred gear on this battle, also allow him to use artificial sacred gear as many he wants. And lastly, the third is the winning condition of this raiding game. If Ryo-sama or Issei Hyoudou retires from the game, Riser-sama will be declared as a winner, but in exchange, Riser-sama cannot surrender or resign. Riaz gave the transceivers to everyone, then wear it on their ears. At the battlefield, we will be using this to communicate with each other, Riaz said. Everyone nodded. Are you ready guys? Issei said in energetic tone. Yeah. Everyone said in unison. Put you guns. Yui smacked him. Ow. Yui-san what gives? He complains. Issei-kun do you need to say that word? Yui said in a annoyed tone. Why not Yui-san? Since I'm a huge fan of Date Masamune of Sengoku Basara, I really like that quote you know. Yui facepalmed oh Satan I almost forgot that knew you were an otaku Issei-kun. Rias giggled you know what ice I'm starting to like more since we have the same interest. Now it's the time for the commencement of the battle. Also, this match will continue till dawn in the humans' time. So, game starts now. Ring ring. And thus the match has begun. Remember everyone tackle them, then use snatch on the chickens group since I will take care of the pawns, Issei said. Yes. Everyone said in unison. Well then let's begin. Issei summons a violin then he uses a skill. Robbie's poem. He plays a music when they heard this music their casting of their magic will go faster than the usual and it will last 30 minutes, easy to guess based on Ragnarok Online Clown Minstrel skill. Asia use your support spells now. While continuing playing the violin. Asia nodded yes. Then she cast a spell. Demonic Clementia. Everyone's strength and their magic reserves were increased and it will last 25 minutes, note. Based on Ragnarok Online while they are devils their powers will be halved if Asia used the normal Clementia, so I decided to add demonic version of the mentioned skill. Panto Candidus. Everyone's agility was increased by 3 times and it will last at least 23 minutes, based on Ragnarok Online mass version of increase agility. Prefatio. Asia creates a protective barrier on everyone that target blocks every form of physical or magical damage until its durability wears off or expires after 20 minutes, again based on Ragnarok Online a mass version of Kyrieleison, yet with changes that it can block magic damage. Now go and proceed the plan. Issei said. Yes. Everyone said in unison. Then everyone went scatter around the academy except for Issei who stayed at Orc. The IP room Mau's room. Sirziches and Serafall were surprised of Asia's abilities and Issei's leadership. This is unexpected. Riatan Bishop is able to use an Archbishop magic spells. Sirziches said. Yeah not only that she able to use a devil version Clementia, Serafall said. I never expect that Ice-kun has a wonderful companion during their travels. Indeed Sirziches-chan not only that Sotan's pawn has been leading them, that means Rias-chan entrust him on this game. Sirziches agreed with her indeed Serafall, but honestly his conditions are making me curious, I wonder why. Well he said that if he uses the promotion in the game will be one-sided for them. Sirziches raised his eyebrow really. Did he said that? Serafall nodded yay he said that. I see I wonder what artificial sacred gear he would use against them. The IP Harem Sona's peerage room. Everyone was surprised by Asia's abilities and Issei's sudden taking command of Ria's peerage. Wow I never expected Issei-kun is taking command Ria-senpai's peerage, Yura said. Ria nods yay not only that Issei-sen was playing the violin to use a support spell. Yura agreed with her yay that was surprising he used a support spell base on the violin. Zenovia says not only that Asia was capable to use Archbishop magic and she manages to create a devil version of Clementia, how did she do that? Since she became a devil for almost 2 weeks ago. It's pretty simple Zenovia and Issei teach her to do that, Momo said. Well, that is possible still. We can save the questions to him later. Zenovia nods yay. Aichu what do you say about Ice's taking over Ria's command? Tsubaki asked. I don't know Tsubaki I need to see further what he's thinking Sona wants to know what Issei is thinking. Back to the battlefield. Is everyone ready? Issei was speaking to them via transceiver. Yes, Ice we're ready here. Rias and Asia is on the tennis court they locked on at Riser's bishops. Thus give us the signal Yui and Kaneko is at the gym they said on the rooks. Ready when you are Ice-kun Akeno is at outside the gym she set her eyes on the queen. We're ready Issei Meguri and Kiba is the entrance of the academy they aiming for the knights. Issei smirked, very well then proceed the operation. Birdcage. At the gym. Kaneko-chan now. Yui said. Yes, Yui-senpai. Kaneko followed through. Riser rooks were surprised of their upcoming ambush. At the tennis court. Let's go Asia Rias said. Yes, Rias ni-sama. Riser bishops were surprised for unexpected ambush. At the entrance of the academy. Let's go Kiba-san. Meguri said. Right. Kiba followed her. Riser knights were surprised as the rest. At the gym, outside. Akeno charging toward to Riser queen. Riser's queen didn't expect of Akeno's ambush. The next word they say. Snatch. Everyone said in unison, based on Ragnarok Online rogue skill. The next thing happens everyone teleported somewhere in the academy. Riser's pawn was alerted since their friends were abducted and then. Issei shouted using a megaphone. Hey pawns of roasted chicken, if you hear this I demand you, girls, to come here at our base, then promote yourselves at any piece and fight me. Everyone including the VIP room was dumbfounded of Issei actions. At the student council room, Riser's base. Riser was very pissed. He called him roasted chicken again. That bastard is going to pay for insulting me. Riser slams the table and then burned it to crisp. VIP room. Mao's room. Serziches and Serafall were surprised of Issei's action. I can't believe that Ice-kun was inviting and the same time challenging Riser's all 8 pawns and promoted any piece and faced them alone, Serzich said. Indeed, I wonder if this part of his plan. Serafall was curious. I don't know, we will find out soon. VIP Harem Sona's peerage room. Aika was surprised. I can't believe that Issei is doing something stupid right now. Is he insane facing 8 promoted pawns against him, Zenobia said. We don't know what he's thinking, Zenobia-san, but honestly I'm impressed that he manages to separate the stronger piece from the pawns. Tsubaki said. Any word of this, Kaichu? Rya said. I believe this one is part of his plan, Sona said. Really, Kaichu? Momo asked. Yes, his strategy is somehow perfect. He manages to separate them from the pawns. I see then why he did that. Aika asked. Only one thing I would know, they going to show their results of their training. Then we can see Meguri-san progress during her training with him, right? Rya said. Yes, I believe that we will see her results of her training with Ice. Back to the battlefield. The Cult Research Club, outside. Riser commanded his pawns to come at Rya's base and face Issei. The girls went inside. Then the next Issei promotion queen. Riser pawns were promoted to queen, their capabilities is increased. Then they hear a clap. Everyone is here, care to introduce yourselves before I face you all? Issei asked. Then the girls start introduce themselves. I'm Mira. The girl with blue hair and light brown eyes. I'm Nai. The girl with red hair and blue eyes. I'm Lee. The girl with blue hair and red eyes. I'm Isle. The girl with turquoise hair and her ribbon tied on the left. I'm Nell. The girl with turquoise hair and her ribbon tied on the right. I'm Burant. The girl with shoulder-length brown hair and wore a sleeveless maid uniform that exposes her assets. I'm Marion. The girl with shoulder-length light brown hair and dark brown eyes. And I'm Sharia. The woman with long pale blue hair and amber eyes. And we are the girls we're about to say Riser-sama pawns. Issei interject them Yakitori Sentai Chickengers. Said at amused tone. What? The girls said in unison. The next thing happens, everyone in the VIP room was laughing. VIP room, Mao's room. Serziches and Serafall were laughing a lot. Oh Satan. Hahaha, Yakitori Sentai Chickengers, that's hilarious, Ice-kun, hahaha. Serzich said while laughing. The Ice-kun has good humor on this kind of situation, hahaha. Serafall said while laughing. You know what, Serafall, we might a show out of them. Hahaha, that would be fun, Serziches-chan. Serafall giggled. VIP Harem Sona peerage room. Sona chuckled, well played Ice, well played, she tried not laugh. While her peerage was laughing. Ahahaha, I can't believe Issei said that, hahaha. Aika said while laughing. I never knew Ice-kun has a sense of humor on this matter, hahaha. Momo said. Indeed, despite Rya-senpai marriage is on the line, he manages to give us some humor, Tsubaki said while giggling. Back to the battlefield. You bastard. Nell said. How dare you humiliate us like that? Isle said. The rest of Riser's pawn was glaring at him. Enough games, Issei said in serious tone, then he pulls something out of his dimensional bag. What are you doing? Lee asked. He pulls Beast Fist transformation Jiki changer while using my artificial sacred gear. That toy is your artificial sacred gear, are you kidding me? Nai said. Don't underestimate my artificial sacred gear if I were you, since this toy you called will be your worst nightmare. Issei has done wearing the changer. Do you think that you able to defeat all of us? Burant said. As a matter of fact, yes. Issei do the wushu hand posture to gyre. Kimono no Chikara. Boil. Power of the beasts. Beast on. Then he pressed the 3 buttons on his right hand, then. Insert Jekringer transformation progress here, well I can't explain on that for some reason. Riser pawns were surprised of Issei's transformation. Issei starts his roll call, Karatanai Minajiru Mujin no Chikara. Infinite power flows through my body. Unbreakable body, Jiki Red. Issei has done his roll call while his thought says beep, yes, I have done this wonderful roll call. Jiki Red from Juiken Sentai Jekringer. No way. Lee said. Impossible. That artificial sacred gear to become one of them, Mira said. Don't let your guard down, girls, it might be a costume only, since it's impossible he would have those skills. Isle said. Yeah, Isle is right. Nell said. Issei got annoyed after he heard this. Hey, don't think of this I henshin for a costume only, as a matter of fact I have those skills too as you feared. No way. I'll said. "Yeah, there's no way you could use those skills." Nell said. "Very well then I show you ha. Jikiwaza HM Dan gun gun bullet. Issei's Jikiwaza that projects his Jiki as Jiki tiger, so wants a piece of this." Issei smirked. He was ready to aim his attack to Nai and Lee. Riser pawns are trembling with fear since they were surprised Issei was capable of. Before Issei charged the attack, then next to here is Riser-sama 2 knights, 2 rooks, and 1 bishop is retired from the game. Riser pawns were surprised that their comrades were defeated. While the pawns were disoriented, Issei took the opportunity to attack. "You're open." Issei charging at Nai and Lee. Boom. Hiya. Nai and Lee were hit and then disappeared. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. Earlier. Before Graphia's announcement. Hiba and Meguri, location. Assembly Hall. "Before we fight, we should introduce ourselves. My name is Hyoudou Kiba, Knight of Ria's Gremory." Kiba introduced himself. "I'm Tomo Meguri, Knight of Sona Sitri." Meguri puts herself into a battle stance. Riser Knights start to introduce themselves. "I'm Carloman, Riser-sama's knight. A woman with light brown hair and green eyes." "I'm Cirrus, also a knight of Riser-sama. A tall young woman with long black hair with a dark blue tint and brown eyes." After they introduced themselves. "Kiba-san, you can take care of Carloman while I will take care of her." Meguri points at Cirrus. Kiba nodded. "Very well." Kiba is now facing Carloman. Carloman is ready to face Kiba. "I was about to ask you a duel between us knights. Let's settle this somewhere." "Very well then." Kiba and Carloman went outside the assembly hall. Meguri prepare herself to face Cirrus. "Okay, let's do this." Meguri pull out of her giant sword. "Oh, that's a huge sword you got there. Is that your sacred gear?" Cirrus said. Meguri shook. "Nope, it's an artificial sacred gear called the 10 Commandments. My friend Issei gave it to me." "I see. Very well then, let's begin." Cirrus starts engaging Meguri. The swords hit each other making sparks. They use their speed since they are knights. Until Meguri decided to use her sword abilities. Sulfarian. The 10 Commandments change form into one-handed sky blue blade. It grants Meguri supersonic speed, being able to slash her opponent multiple times in a single second. Cirrus was trying to blocking numerous slashes from Meguri. Then Meguri used the combined second and third form abilities of the 10 Commandments. Silver Drive. Honestly, 12 wings of the explosive dragon is too long to write. Meguri creates 12 swift explosions from the distance. Cirrus tries to dodge the explosive attacks, yet she got hit on the last 4 consecutive slash. "Damn it." Cirrus grits her teeth. "I'm not done yet, Malphurs." The 10 Commandments was change form into ocean blue blade, the yellow at the tip. Meguri smirked. "Now blow you away." She uses the power of Malphurs to blow Cirrus away. Outside the assembly hall. The match between knights. "I have been waiting for this. Personally, I would like to fight in an intense sword fight." Kiba's aggressive words. "Well said." Ria's Gremory's knight. Carloman starts to slash as if she is dancing. The swords hit each other making sparks. They both have godspeed because they are knights. Holy Eraser. Kiba summons a darkness sword that devours light and its blade is engulfed by darkness. "Unfortunately, your sacred gear won't work on me." Carloman's sword is covered in flames. But Kiba doesn't seem bothered by it. "Then I will also tell you this. Unfortunately, this isn't everything of my sacred gear." "What? Nonsense. Knight of Gremory, it's unsightly for a swordsman to freeze." After Kiba says that with a small voice, there is something gathering in the bladeless sword. Kiba's sword starts to freeze. The ice starts to pile up and it takes the shape of a sword. At the same time, with the sound of ice breaking, Kiba's sword forms into a blade of ice. In front of this sword, flame delete all types of fire will disappear. "This is absurd. Are you telling me that you have 2 sacred gears?" Carloman swings her flame sword to the side. She has an impatient look. The instant Carloman's sword touches Kiba's sword, the flame sword starts to freeze and turn into a solid. Then it makes a sound and breaks. Then it disappears. But she doesn't stop attacking. As soon as she throws away her sword, she takes a short sword from her hip. She then put her sword up and shouts. "We are the members of the almighty house of Phoenix that rule over fire and wind. Taste it. The whirlwind of fire." There's a wind of fire around outside the assembly hall with Carloman and Kiba in the middle of it. "I see, you are trying to burn us with a whirlwind of fire, but..." Kiba put his bladeless sword in front of him. He then says it with a strong voice. "Stop." The wind is getting sucked into Kiba's sword. The wind stops within few seconds and the ground becomes silent. Replenish calm. "It's been a while since I last showed more than 2 demonic swords for one battle." There is a mysterious whirlwind in the middle of the blade. Multiple sacred gears. "Are you a sacred gear possessor who takes the weapons of other sacred gear users and makes it their own?" Carloman asked. Kiba shook his head. "I don't have multiple sacred gears. I also don't take the sacred gears of others and make them my own. I created it. What, you created it? Yes, my sacred gear is sword birth, I can make any type of demonic swords. Multiple swords appear from the ground when he put his hand downwards. There are swords with different shapes. Even the blades are different. Then Kiba decided to go offensive. Severing wind. Kiba spins around, slashing upward while jumping into the air, creating a cyclone of wind that hits all surrounding. Then he follows up the next attack blade, reveal your fury. Dragon Tempest. Kiba creates a whirling ball of wind in front of them that hit several times. When Carloman tries to stand up until she saw someone was blown away from the assembly hall. Cirrus. Damn, she's too strong. Siri growled. Meguri was coming out the kendo club while holding her sword, she reverted back to base form. Oh, you're done here, Kiba? Meguri asked. Kiba nods yes. Pretty much of it. I see we should finish them with a blast. Meguri smirked. Alright, let's do it. Explosion. The 10 Commandments has changed form into orange long sword with marking coming from the hilt. Then next thing Meguri did is, here you go, Kiba-san. She gave her sword to Kiba. Kiba hold the 10 Commandments, then he concentrate to use the 10 Commandments power and his sacred gear. Next thing he did is explosive birth. Kiba summons a lot of demonic swords came from the ground. It results into a large sword field due to combining powers the second form of the 10 Commandments. The result, several swords are mixed with explosion. Then next thing happens, multiple explosions were covering on Riser's night. Kaneko, Rias, and Yui, location. Parking lot. Yui, Kaneko, you two will take care of the rooks. Yes, but you? Yui and Kaneko said in unison. Yui and Kaneko are facing Riser rooks, while Rias is facing Riser's bishop. Before we start, tell me your name. Rias asked. My name is Mihi. Riser-sama's bishop, a black-haired girl wearing kimono with different colors. Very well, show me what are you capable of. As you wish, Rias-sama. And thus a somewhat duel between Rias and Mihi has begun. Rias was taking easy on her. Meanwhile on Kaneko and Yui a little further away from the parking lot. I'm Shulin Riser-sama Rook, a woman of Chinese descent with shoulder-length black hair and blue-green eyes. I'm Isabella, also a Rook of Riser-sama, a woman with short light brown hair and grey eyes. Her hair has 3 red highlights across and wears a plain white mask which covers the right side of her face. Kaneko Taoju, Rook of Ria's Gremory. Yui Katagawa, pawn of Ria's Gremory and the current Sekiryuite. Yui summons her boosted gear. Boost. Riser Rooks was surprised they are facing a Sekiryuite. We must be careful, Isabella, Shulin said. I know, Shulin. We're facing a Sekiryuite after all. Shulin and Isabella put themselves into a defensive stance since they expect a pressure on this battle due to Sekiryuite presence. Then Yui decided to do the first strike. Boost. 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 Explosion. Yui shouted. Explosion. Beat this dragon shot. Yui fires a beam of energy by concentrating her magical power. Shulin and Isabella were instinctively dodged the upcoming shot. An explosion was heard on the poolside. I didn't expect that power can destroy the entire poolside. Yui senpai. Don't copy Akeno senpai, it's bad. Kaneko said in cold tone. Hey, I'm not copying that sadomasochistic queen, Kaneko-chan. Yui said in annoyed tone. Shulin and Isabella were looking on the destroyed poolside. Such power, Shulin said. Indeed, we better careful on that one. If we get hit on that we will get ejected from the fight immediately, Isabella said. Right. We must prevent her from using that move again. Then Riser Rook starts to attack Yui and Kaneko. Now Kaneko-chan. Shulin and Isabella caught them off guard. Before Kaneko use her Mystic Card. Flashback, 8th day of their training session night. Issei and Kaneko were alone during their training. Kaneko-chan, before we begin of our lesson I'm about to teach you about Mystic Card. Mystic Card, what is it, Issei-senpai? Well, Mystic Card is Issei explains about Mystic Card. Note. I suck at explanation of things. After Kaneko heard everything about Mystic Card. Issei-senpai, why did you choose me to teach me about the Mystic Card? Ria-senpai and the others are better choices and they are stronger than me. Well, it's simple, Kaneko-chan, you're the only one who capable to use a Mystic Card. Yes, they are stronger than you, but they need more time before they can use it. Kaneko was surprised when Issei told her that she's capable to use Mystic Card. Really, Issei-senpai? Issei nods yes, Kaneko-chan, I saw your potential while we trained 3 days ago, so I decided to teach you the Mystic Card what I stored and I will teach you how to use it. So keep this a secret for a while, okay? Kaneko nods yes, Issei-senpai. Flashback ends. Kaneko focuses her energy then. Watch me, Issei-senpai. Hiya. Akashic Torment. Kaneko slams her hand onto the ground, causing a phonic glyph to appear. Energy from around the glyph slowly travels toward the center and forms a tower of energy to damage anyone within range. Then Yui starts to act to follow up the attack after the Kaneko used the Akashic Torment. Boost. 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 An explosion. Explosion. The finisher Dragon Shot. Well, her thought says this is the first time Kaneko-chan use a different move. Does Issei-kun teach her something we didn't know? I'm going to ask him later after this match. Yui fires a beam of energy at the rooks. Shulin and Isabella couldn't block on time since they are seriously hurt due to Kaneko's missed card. Then next thing happens, an explosion. Back to Rias. After several magic attacks later. Rias is taking easy on Riser's bishop since Rias was dodging every magic attack until Mihi noticed she's been toying her from the start. Rias-sama, I noticed that you've been toying me from the start since you could have beat me using your power of destruction right now. Mihi said. I know, since you asked to end this pointless fight, I will finish you with a fauna card I recently learned by ice, Rias said. Then Rias is starting to chanting. Oh, gathering flames of darkness, treat my dear guest to the strains of your terrible song. Bloody howling. Rias finished her chant. Rias opens a portal near Mihi, from which a howling shade appears. Hiya. And thus an announce was heard. Riser-sama, 2 knights, 2 rooks, and 1 bishop is retired from the game. Then another announcement. Riser-sama, 2 pawns is retired from the game. It seems Ice can handle them all, as he said. Rias smiles. To Akeno and Asia side, location. Tennis court. Akeno and Asia smiles when they heard the announcement, while Riser's Queen Eubeluna and Riser's other bishop, none other than Ravel Phoenix, was surprised on the sudden announcement. Impossible. They manage beat all of them at the same time, Ravel said. Not only that, it seems the extra pawn has to manage beaten 2 of our pawns were promoted into queens at once. Eubeluna said. How powerful that pawn? Ravel was curious how powerful Issei is. I can answer that question. Akeno decided to butt in. Tell us, how powerful is that pawn, Priestess of Thunder? Ravel asked again. Well, let's say he can take down a cadre level of the fallen angel with an ease. No way. There's no way a low-class pawn like him would be that strong. Ravel is surprised at Akeno. She compare of Issei's current strength is capable to take down a cadre level fallen angel. Oh, believe me, we know how powerful he is. Without his sacred he can beat your brother without a hassle. Akeno smirked. I had enough with you, Priestess of Lightning. Eubeluna, please take care of her. Ravel said angrily. Yes, Ravel-sama, Eubeluna said. Eubeluna is now facing Akeno. Ara. Eubeluna-san. Or should I call you the Bomb Queen? Akeno said. I don't like that name because of its bad taste, Priestess of Lightning, though I was hoping I can fight you. Eubeluna said in an annoyed tone. Then a duel between the queens begins. Are we going to fight? Asia asked. Ravel shook her head. No. We're not fighting, I just here to observe. I see. Anyway, why did you join your brother's peerage, Ravel-san? Asia asked. Well, Ani-sama said that he wants a little sister type on his peerage, that is all. Only for that reason? Ravel nods yes. It seems Ai-san is right about you, that you won't fight. What? How did he know that? Ravel was surprised that Issei knows she won't fight. Well, he said he a hunch about that you won't fight us, since you're their strategist of your brother's peerage, right? Ravel nods yes, I'm their strategist. I didn't expect that pawn of Sitri managed to know that I'm not fighting in this game. I have to agree with you, Ravel-san, since Ai-san plans this everything after all. Ravel was surprised. What? Did he plan this idea? He really intended to separate us from except our pawns. Asia nods yes, he purposely intended that, including challenging the pawns all by himself. Meanwhile at VIP Mau's room. Earlier, before Grafia made an announcement. Sirziches and Serafall viewing the battle between the knights, rooks and the bishops. That sword seems familiar for some reason, yet I can guess that sword is an artificial sacred gear, don't you think, Serafall? Sirziches was pointing at Meguri's sword. Yes, that sword is definitely an artificial sacred gear, Sirziches-chan, since we never saw that weapon before. Then they heard the name of the weapon. Nope, it's an artificial sacred gear called the 10 Commandments. My friend Issei gave it to me. Sirziches was surprised. So it seems Ice-kun said is true, that he can make an artificial sacred gear, and it seems we saw one of his works and he call it the 10 Commandments. Is he doing a Bible reference? I don't think so, Sirziches-chan. I bet Ice-kun has a reason why he named that sword. I see. I hope you're right, Serafall. Until they notice the sword has changed its form. Now I get it why he named that sword. It has the capacity to change form up to 10 times. That sword is really interesting. I wonder if the fallen angel Governor Azazel saw that sword. I'm sure that he wants to examine it. I'm sure he will, Sirziches-chan. Since that guy is totally nuts when it comes to sacred gear. Indeed, since it's an artificial sacred gear, I'm sure that he wants to meet Ice-kun, since he also makes artificial sacred gears like him. Serafall nods yes, highly expect that. Then they saw Meguri fuse the abilities of second and third form of the sword. Silver Drive. Amazing, that sword has capable to combine the sword abilities. Surziches was amazed of the sword capabilities. Indeed, Surziches-chan, I wonder how did he make such a complicated sacred gear he made. I have been wondering about that too, Serafall, since he told us that he wants to test his artificial sacred gears against the pawns, and it seems the knight of your little sister is holding one of his successful work. Then they saw the sixth form of the 10 commandments. I'm not done yet, Melfors. Did she just say Melfors? Surziches realized something. Yes, she did say that. Wait a minute, that sword is. Serafall realized about the sword origins. Surziches chuckled. Yes, Serafall, that sword is the 10 commandments from the Rave Master. I can't believe that Ice-kun managed to create that sword base on the manga. Yeah, I'm so amazed he capable to do that. Then they get their attention to Kiba. Then the next thing they saw, I decided to skip a few things. Severing Wind. Then they saw the follow-up move. Blade, Reveal Your Fury, Dragon Tempest. This is the first time Ria's knight use a different move. I'm sure those moves he used ain't from my knight. So that means he learned that move from someone else, and who could it possible to teach him to use those moves? Serafall asked. We will find out soon enough. Then they get their attention when Meguri gave her sword to Kiba. Then the next thing he did is Explosive Birth. Multiple explosions was covering the screen. Surziches-chan, how did they did that? Surziches rubs his chin. It seems they combined the abilities of Ria's Knight Sacred Gear and the 10 Commandments. Fascinating. Who would have thought it was possible to combine between Sacred Gear and an artificial Sacred Gear? It seems Ice-kun knew it was possible to combine them. I see. It seems the match between the knights has been settled. Let's see the match of Ria's-chan with her pawn and rook against Phoenix rooks and bishop. Serafall look at the other screen. This would be interesting. I want to know on Ria-tan results of their training. Then they view on Ria's side. They about to start. Ria's orders her pawn and rook to deal with Riser's rooks to fight them somewhere, and then Riser's bishop is starting to engage with Ria's until Serafall notices something. It seems Ria's-chan is taking easy of Riser's bishop. She's avoiding her attacks. I wonder what Ria's-chan is trying to pull. Yes, I noticed that too. She could have finished her by now. Then Serafall and Surziches watching the rooks battle until Kaneko and Yui introduce themselves. Kaneko Taoju, rook of Ria's Gremory. Yui Katagawa, pawn of Ria's Gremory and the current Sekiryuite. Both Mayus were surprised that Ria's has the Sekiryuite on her peerage. Wow, Ria's-chan has the Sekiryuite on her side. I didn't expect that. Yes, it seems my Ria-tan managed to get a Sekiryuite on our side. Talks about luck. Indeed, I wonder what So-tan pawn sacred gear he could have. Since he forbid himself to use it unless I gave his permission to use it. I have been wondering about that too, Serafall. For some reason Ice-kun is hiding something from us for a while. I feel the same too, Surziches-chan. Then they get their attention back on screen until Kaneko. Watch me, Issei senpai. Akashic Torment. Boost. Boost boost. 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 The finisher, Dragon Shot. Then the between Ria's pawn and rook against Riser rook's screen was covered by smoke. That was unexpected combo they got there. Serafall nods. Indeed, that surprised me as Ria's-chan rook managed to pull that attack. Is that one of her Nekomata powers, Surziches-chan? Surziches shook. No, I don't think she uses her Nekomata power. The power she uses is completely different. I wonder what is that strange glyph we saw. Even Ria's-chan pawn was confused about it too. It seems she noticed the glyph she saw power is very different. It seems Ice-kun has to do something about their abilities, especially that glyph we saw. Until they saw Ria's went offensive. Then she chants. Oh, gathering flames of darkness, treat my dear guest to the strains of your terrible song. Bloody howling. Then the saw a dark shade surrounds Riser's bishop. Both Mayus were surprised Ria's used a spell that requires chanting. Wow, that was unexpected. Surziches-chan, Ria's-chan learned a new magic. We didn't see it before. Yes, that magic is no ordinary. I wonder who teaches her that magic she used. Surziches knew who taught her. I believe Ice-kun teach her about that magic. Serafall was surprised. You mean So-tan's pawn is capable to use magic aside from making an artificial sacred gear? Yes, I believe so, Surziches said calmly. I see. Let's see So-tan pawn doing right now. The Mayus are now viewing Issei against Riser pawns. A few moments later, after Issei called them Yakitori Sentai Chikengers. I wonder what's he going to do after he provokes the pawns. We will find out soon. Until they saw Issei pull something and they saw a pair of gloves and both of them recognize it. Hey, Surziches-chan, do you see what I see? Yes, it's a morpher from Juukin Sentai Jekarangers. Yes, I know that Surzich's-chan. But don't tell me that thing is one of his artificial sacred gear. We would be surprised if that thing is really an artificial sacred gear. The next thing Issei said on the screen. The gyre. Kimono no Chikara. Boil. Power of the beasts. Beast on. They saw the transformation until he roll call. Garatan I am Inajiru Mujin no Chikara. Infinite power flows through my body. Unbreakable body, Jiki Red. Both Mayus didn't believe what they saw. He actually did it. They said in their thoughts. Oh, my Satan, I can't believe it. So Tan's pawn made something very interesting. Surzich's-chan. Serafall was awed of Issei's sudden transformation. Yes, I know Serafall. I wonder how did he manage to create that. If Azazel saw this, I'm sure that he will find a way in order to meet him, since he wanted to create a tokusatsu-based artificial sacred gear, yet he didn't succeed. I wonder does that artificial sacred gear he can do the actual abilities? Serafall is curious. I can guess he can do that. Since there's no way for him. He makes something worthless. Serafall agreed with him. I know, let us see what he can do about that suit. Then the next thing Issei did is. Jikiwaza HM Dan Gun Bullet. The Mayu saw Issei's Jikiwaza that projects his Jiki as Jiki Tiger. That is so cool. Surzich's-chan, he can actually use those. Serafall's eyes were glittering. Indeed, Serafall, I can't believe we saw the real thing. Before Issei attacks, Grafia made a sudden announcement. Wargame-sama 2 knights, 2 rooks, and 1 bishop is retired from the game. The Mayu saw Issei attacks the 2 of the riser pawns off guard, then another announcement came from Grafia. Wargame-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. Wow, this is unexpected. Rias-chan and the others beat them at the same time. Yes, not only that, Ice-kun caught the pawns off guard and then defeats them. 6 pawns left until he can help Riatan's queen and her bishop. Why him? Surzich's-chan. Since Rias-chan and the others are done dealing the rest of them. Well, Serafall, I have a hunch that he would do something interesting. Ooh, that's I want to see, Serafall said gleefully. Meanwhile. The Harem Sona and her peerage room. Earlier before the announcement. Sona and her peerage were focusing the match between the knights since Meguri is one of her first knight before Zenobia came along. Sona realized something, that her peerage is complete. She didn't expect the Durandal wielder Zenobia since she was expecting she would join Teria's peerage, yet later on become her second knight. But Aika became her second rook due to Issei's recommendation. Later on, she finds out that Aika was a descendant of a fire dragon slayer, has the capability to use dragon slaying magic. Sona didn't expect she would find such a rare talent. And lastly, Issei, they met during the Kakabial incident while they've been attacked by a group of fallen angels, and he said he's the shared pawn with her big sister, more like a midget big sister lol. He possessed boosted gear and divine dividing, which is odd to her since Ria's pawn is the Sekiruyute, until he told his true identity, that he came from another world and his former masters was their counterparts and they died in a battle along with their counterparts' peerage, yet he didn't tell the entire history of his homeworld due to the tragic events, so he decided to keep it by himself. After meeting with Issei, she noticed that her life was changed. She didn't expect that she has fallen for him after a few days the moment they met. Yet she thinks that he might seize her as her counterpart, not as her on this world, but after their 10 days training with Rias, he told her that he didn't saw her as her counterpart anymore. Aichu, do you think Meguri will go all out? Aika asked. I believe she wouldn't go all out on this battle, Sona said calmly. Then they saw Meguri pulls out her sword. Aika immediately recognized the sword. That is say, he never told me that he made that sword, Aika said it in white tone. Do you know that sword, Aika-san? Ria asked. Yes, that sword called the 10 Commandments. I can't believe that Issei made a real thing based on the Rave Master. Everyone was surprised about the sword origins. Are you sure about that, Aika-san? Momo asked. Aika nods. Yes, Momo-chan, I can't believe that Issei made that sword and gave it to Meguri-san. What does the sword do, Aika? Zenobia asked. It has capacity to change form up 10 times with different abilities. Right now we saw is the first form Ice and Meteor. What that sword has capable to change form up to 10 times with different abilities. Zenobia was surprised of the sword capabilities. Aika nods. Yes, Zenobia does. I wonder how far she able to use the other forms. Then they saw Meguri's sword is changed form. Sulfarian. She's capable to use the third form. What is that form, Aika-san? Momo asked. Sulfarian, the sonic sword. What does it do? It gives the user of a huge speed boost that can able to do multiple strikes in a single second, Aika said. Due to her night piece she becomes more faster than the usual, yet it has a weakness, right? Sona added. Aika nods. Yes, Kaichu, Sulfarian gives a huge speed boost, but the strength when it comes to cutting power is weaker. Since we're devils, her cutting strength will be higher than the usual, so it's possible she removed that weakness, I think. I see. Then they saw Meguri did something different on her next attack. Silver Drive. Then they saw multiple explosions. It seems she manages to combine the second and third form abilities. Nice move there, Meguri. Aika smirked. Is that possible, Aika? Ria asked. Yes, it's possible, Ria, since combining abilities can make a powerful attack. I see, Aika-san. Do you think Issei-san teach her to use that move? Yes, since he's the one who made that sword, so I won't be surprised he taught her how to use the sword abilities. Then they saw Meguri change to sword form again. I'm not done yet, Malphurs. This is surprising. Meguri is able to use the sixth form of the sword. Aika was surprised that Meguri is capable to use the sixth form. What does that form do, Kiryu-san? Tsubaki asked. Well, Fukukaichu, Malphurs, the vacuum sword, it has capable to fire powerful bursts of air at the enemy to blow them away and paralyze them. I see that form would be useful against multiple opponents, right? Aika nods yes, Fukukaichu. Then they watch on Kiba's fight against Carloman until he introduces his sacred gear. So Kiba's sacred gear is capable to make multiple demonic swords as many he wants, right? Aika asked. Sona nods yes, Kiryu, his ability is to make many demonic swords as he wishes, but during the recent incident he manages to reach his balance breaker. What is balance breaker, Kaichu? I believe it's called Sword of Betrayer, an irregular type balance breaker. It allows him to create holy demonic sword. He can make a holy demonic sword. Man, that sounds scary. Sona says indeed, which made him a dangerous opponent. She looks at Zenobia. Zenobia, you should be careful with him, since you might face him again in the future. Zenobia nodded yes, Kaichu, since he will be not the same as last time we met, I'm sure the result will be different when I faced him again. Indeed, unlike this time, he's longer hold a grudge against the Excalibur fragments. Then they saw Meguri change the sword form. Explosion. Aika-san, is that the second form of the 10 Commandments, right? Momo asked. Aika nods yes, Momo-chan, you're correct, that's the second form of the 10 Commandments. Explosion, the detonating sword, it has the ability to explode upon contact with some recoils damage. The more power you input on this form, the more damage they will get, but you can hurt yourself if used too much. So that form is like a double-edged sword? Tsubaki asked. Yes, Fukukaichu. Then they saw Meguri gave her sword to Kiba, and the next thing they saw. Explosive birth. They saw a huge sword field mixed with the second form explosion among the blades, then the next thing they saw a multiple explosion. Sona and her peerage was surprised on the recent combination. I wonder if Hyoudou-kun gave them an idea to combine their sacred gear abilities. Tsubaki was curious. Sona smiles since she expects this is Issei's idea. I believe Ice gave them that idea, Tsubaki, since he knew about Ria's Knight's sacred gear. I see, I'm quite surprised that it was possible to combine the sacred gear abilities, especially the sword is an artificial sacred gear. Indeed, Tsubaki, I wonder what Ice has stored for us. We will find out about that soon, Kaichu. Then they view on the Ria's side. They notice Ria's orders her pawn and rook to deal with the Riser's rooks, after that they were separated from Ria's and Riser bishop named Mihi, and thus they decide to duel, yet Sona and her peerage knows who's going to be the victor between them. So they decided to look at Ria's pawn and rook against Riser's rook. After their introduction they start to fight. So Yui is the current security of this world, right? Aika asked. Yes, Kiryu, she is, Sona said. They go back viewing the match until Kaneko used a special attack. Watch me, Issei senpai. Akashic Torment. Aichu, is that a Mystic Heart? Tsubaki asked. Yes, Tsubaki, that is a Mystic Heart. That one is based on Strike Hearts. Sona said. I see. Kaichu, do you think Ria-sama and the others know about this? I believe they didn't, Tsubaki. It seems Ice thinks Ria's and the others except for Asia. They ain't ready to use the Mystic Heart, yet he found something special on Ria's rook and he decided to teach her about Mystic Heart. I see, I was surprised he chose Ria-sama's rook to teach her to use the Mystic Heart. I'm sure Ria's and the rest will ask him after this rating game. Then saw the follow-up by Yui by using the finisher Dragon Shot. Then an explosion was blocking their screen. Nice follow-up there, Yui, Aika smirked. What a combination they had there. Zenobia said. Ria agreed with them. Indeed, well, we better careful on them when they team up. Agreed, Aika said. Then they watch Ria's finish off Mihi with a fauna card. Well, that was quick, Momo said. Yay, since it's obvious that Ria-senpai was toying her from the start, Ria said. Then they view on Issei's side, skipping the Akatori Sentai Chikengers scene. Oh, boy, Issei made them pissed, Aika said. I hope he knows what he's doing, Ria said. Until they saw Issei pulled out something and the girls were surprised what they saw. Aika recognized the item he holds. Oi. Issei, you can't be serious about this. He has the Jiki changer, don't tell me he's going to henshin in front them, Tsubaki said. Until he does the Wushu hands postures, then he said. The gyre. Kimono no Chikara. Boil. Power of the beasts. Beast on. They saw the transformation until he roll call. Hiroten I am Inajiru Mugen no Chikara. Infinite power flows through my body. Unbreakable body, Jiki Red. Sona and her peerage was shocked of his sudden transformation and his awesome roll call. No way, that idiot really did it. Aika smirked. I can't believe that Issei-san transformed into a Sentai hero, Rya said. Indeed, this one is a meta, shocked Rya-san, Momo said. Tsubaki was speechless since she didn't expect Issei transformed into one of her favorite Super Sentai she watched, and her thoughts say, I can't believe it, Hyoudou-kun really transformed into a Sentai hero. Sona noticed Tsubaki acting strange. Tsubaki, are you okay? Tsubaki tries to fix her composure. Yes Kaichu, I'm okay. You know Fuku Kaichu, we know you're into that stuff since Ice-kun told me about that, right Kaichu? Momo said. Yes, you're right Hanakai, she really into Super Sentai, as I said, Sona said. What, he knew? Tsubaki was surprised. She didn't expect that Issei knew she was a Sentai fangirl. Yeah, since you ask him if he able to use the other Sentai, I didn't expect that he manages to figure it out that quick. Momo said. Tsubaki sighed. I see, I didn't expect that. Yeah? I didn't expect that you're into Super Sentai Fuku Kaichu. Aika said. Then the next thing Issei did is. Jikiwaza HMHM Dan Gun Bullet. Sona and her peerage saw Issei's Jikiwaza that projects his Jiki as Jiki Tiger. Am I dreaming? Someone pinch me if this wasn't a dream. Tsubaki said aloud. Then Aika pinched Tsubaki's shoulder. Ow. What gives Kiryu-san? Tsubaki said in an annoyed tone. Well, you said am I dreaming? Someone pinch me if this wasn't a dream. So I decided to pinch you. Did I really say that? Aika nods yes. It seems her fangirlism has taken over her after she saw that move. Rya said. Indeed, I never expect Fuku Kaichu is total fangirl of Super Sentai. Momo said. Before Issei attacks, Graphia made an announcement. Riser-sama 2 knights, 2 rooks, and 1 bishop is retired from the game. After the announcement, Issei attacks Riser pawns off guard, then another announcement came from Graphia. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. Wow, this is unexpected. Rya senpai is dominating, Aika said. Yeah, I wonder what Ice-kun did to them in their 10 days of their training. Momo was curious. I was curious what training method they used during their training. Zenobia said. We will find out soon, everyone, Rya said. The girls were nodded, except for Sona. Back to Issei, location outside Orc. After he defeated Nai and Lee with Jikiwaza HMHM Dan. Riser's pawns put themselves into defensive stance. Damn it, we lost Nai and Lee. Shuriya said. We must be careful, that guy is stronger than we expected, Mira said. Indeed, we need to attack him together. Buren said. Alright, since we have a plan, let's do this. Marion said. Right. Ilal and Nell said in unison. Are you done planning? Issei said in bored tone. Then the next thing he did is he revert back at his regular Cow Academy uniform. That makes the pawn surprised. Why did you revert back? Marion asked. Well, the testing phase of this artificial sacred I made is a success, so I decided to use it in the next future battle if necessary. So are you going to fight us in your state? Buren asked. Oh, that not yet until I use this. Issei pulls out the Drake grip. The gun holder? Marion said. Are you really looking down on us? Shuriya said. Issei raised his eyebrow. Who said this is a gun holder? Look behind you, ladies. Riser pawns looked behind and they saw a mechanical dragonfly coming towards to them. What does that mechanical dragonfly do? Shuriya asked. Well, the mechanical dragonfly attached to Drake grip Henshin. Henshin? The Drake grip announced. Issei turned into Drake's masked form as a heavily armored form resembling a nymph. It's my artificial sacred gear that I can become Kamen Rider Drake. The pawns were surprised on his current form. Let's finish this quick. Issei pulls on the Drake grip back and he said cast off. Cast off. As the Drake grip announced. The metal plates around Issei went flying into different direction due to that the pawns are avoiding the plates. After that Issei turns into Drake's rider form, but in this form, it was sleeker, faster, and more offensive form of Drake and it resembles of the dragonfly. Change dragonfly? Riser's pawns are odd due to his new form. Well, then ladies, let's begin. Issei starts shooting at them. The pawns are avoiding his shooting spree until they decided to go offensive. But Issei was easily dodging and blocking their attacks. Is that all you can do, pawns of chicken? Issei mocked them. Stop calling Riser-sama a chicken. Shuriya said in an annoyed tone. The Riser-sama is not a chicken. Marion said. But he's still a chicken in my point of view. Since I can't stand his freaking face every time I see him. Then don't look at him. Isle said. Easy for you to say. TCH, this is pointless, let's get this to the next level. Issei is ready to use the Kabuto series featured system, the clock up, since this will be the first time he will use on the actual battle, so he needs a result if the clock up system is a success, so he can use it in the upcoming battle until he said. Clock up. Clock up. Drake Grip announced. Everything on his surrounding went slowly, including riser pawns. They were moving very slow, or a slow motion perhaps. Issei smirked. Alright, it works. The clock up system is a huge success. Time to finish these two with rider shooting. He looks at Mira and Sharia. Then Issei engage and kicks Mira on the back that sends her flying. Then. Rider shooting. Rider shooting. Drake Grip announced. Issei fires a concentrated blast on Mira's back, then he moves to Sharia. He did the same on Mira, then he follow up. Rider shooting. Rider shooting. Drake Grip announced. Issei fires a concentrated blast again, this time on Sharia's back. Mira and Sharia is about to clash each other along the blast on their back. Clock up is almost over, I better end this. As his thought said then. Rider shooting. Rider shooting. Drake Grip announced. This time Issei fires a concentrated blast for the third time, this time he shoots between Mira and Sharia. Clock over. As the Drake Grip announced. Everything on his surrounding was moving normally until. Hi! Mira and Sharia screamed. An explosion was heard and covering with smoke due to the three riders shooting were collided. Then an announcement was heard. Wargame-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. The pawns were surprised on Mira and Sharia's sudden defeat. It happened too fast, they didn't see what he do to them. What the? Burin said. What the hell he just do? Marion said. We don't know, Marion-san, it just. Nell said. He moves extremely fast. Our eyes couldn't catch up, then the next thing we saw right now he just blast Mira and Sharia at the same time. Isle said. The pawns are still shocked due to Mira and Sharia's sudden defeat. Issei decided to speak up. Well, allow me to answer those questions. I just used the most complicated system I ever made, it's called clock up on my artificial sacred gear. Kabuto series I made since I didn't use the main rider, so I decided to use the other rider of the mentioned series for my testing phase. Okay. So what's the clock up? Burin asked. When I use the clock up, everyone on my surroundings will be moved in a very slow, or I should say slow motion, in a short period of time. So, in other words, I can move normally and beat the hell whoever in my sight, then I shoot those two with the rider shooting 3 times, one of them each, while the last one I shoot in the between those two after that the clock up is over, so that explains why those two were defeated. Issei explained. I don't get it. Nell said. Yeah, me too, Isle said. Issei sighed. This is what happens for those who haven't watched Kamen Rider Kabuto since the testing is done. I will look forward to using Kabuto when I get there. For now, you girls considered as lucky that I didn't use Kabuto instead of Drake since I was testing the clock up system I made. Issei reverted back to normal while his thought says note to self. Give them a replay video after this rating for those who asking what happened on those two. Since the testing phase is finished, you can fight me in my normal state as if you can beat me. Issei smirked. You fiend. You will pay for what you did, Mira and Sharia. Marion said. Die. Okay, let's get to business. Trace on. Issei summons a sword. The sword he summoned is the Jewel of Guardio's guy's personal sword from Tales of the Abyss. The pawns were surprised due to Issei summons a sword. What the hell? You can summon a sword, Burin said. Issei nods. Yes, this is my unique ability called Projectio transversion before I woke in my sacred gear, so don't look down on me. Issei put his stance up. I'll, Nell, attack him now. Burin said. Roger. The green hair twins said unison. Then the twins pull out their chainsaw. Disassembling time. The twin said happily. Oh Satan, even at this world those twins are still the same when they wield those chainsaws. His thought said. The twins are starting to attack him, yet he dodges like the last time. Stand still. Nell said in an annoyed tone. Yeah, so we can disassemble you? Said her older twin. As if I let you do that. Issei parries their attack. When the twins have flinched, then Issei went to offensive. He used one of his arcane art. Take this Tempest Gambit. Issei stabs the twins with his blade and pulls them closer to him, proceeding to then attack with a barrage of kicks and slashes. Hi. Time to end both of you, and I make an irony on this matter. Issei decided to use his mystic art. Tadakaki Guren no Hanuyo. Motsukus. Oh noble conflagration, incinerate all. Issei leaps into the air, wreathed in flame, carrying any nearby enemies with him. He then streaks toward the ground, again carrying them with him. A phonic glyph of flame appears underneath him when he said. Raising Phoenix. He once again leaps into the air, this time surrounded by fiery energy in the shape of a phoenix, hitting the twins repeatedly. Hi-ah. The twin were burned during their attack before they reached the ground, they starting to vanish. Then an announcement was heard from Graphia. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. As I said, I made an irony of it. Issei chuckled. The last 2 pawns of Riser were surprised of Issei's ability he used. No way did we just saw a phoenix on his attack, Burant said. How can he possibly did that? Marion said. I have no idea. Issei noticed the maids are still here. Oh, you two still there? I was expecting you girls are going to flee. What happens to the twins? Oh well, time to finish you off. Issei decide to use one of his favorite Mysticard. You shall taste one of my strongest spells. Before the maids can flee. Issei weaves the air to create several rings around him and generates a small sphere from his hand. The sphere then expands, capturing the maids caught in the range. But I can't move. Burant trying to get out of the sphere. We're trapped. Marion is struggling to get out of the sphere. When the cage is minimized, then he chants. It's over. Your fate is sealed. I shall defeat you in the name of my beloved master Sona Sitri. Mystic Cage. Issei closes his hand and crushes the cage, dealing severe damage to the trapped enemies. Hiya. Before the maids hits the ground, they starting to vanish, then Graphia said an announcement. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. Issei cleans off his sweat. Well, that was a good workout. Then Graphia made another announcement. Issei Hyoudou, I would remind you to stop on your love talk at your king during this match, even it's a part of the chant of your spell, that is all. After he heard the announcement. Blah. Issei went paled when he remembers what he said during his chant on the Mystic Cage. His thought says, oh Mayu. What the hell I have done? Sarah is going to kill me for this. Well, he's on deep thought. Then Serafall contact him via transceiver. Ice-chan, I will talk to you about your love talk on my Sotan this after that match. Issei shivered when he hears her angered cold tone. Then he replied, yes Sarah-sama. Well, his thought says, well, I need to tell her that I'm engaged to Sona since I beat her in chess few days ago, so after this match, I'm going to tell her if that chicken won't use any unnecessary tricks during the match. After that, Issei puts his headset on his ears, then went to the tennis court. While walking, he listening on some Toku theme. I guess I need to assist Akeno-san after all, but hey, she manages to keep the bomb queen this long enough after we start our operation. Meanwhile at the tennis court. Akeno and Hyoudou were still fighting until they heard an announcement. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. RR Ice managed to defeat half of them. Akeno said. Then another announcement was heard from Graphia. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. What the hell is going on there? Hyoudou was surprised. Who knows? Since our cute mercenary is dealing with them. Akeno said at amused tone. Then heard another announcement on the 3rd time. Riser-sama 2 pawns is retired from the game. It seems he just wiped out all of them without any issues. This is absurd. How is that mercenary pawn managed to beat all of them? Were promoted into queens. Hyoudou is shocked. She didn't expect that. The pawns were promoted into queens were defeated by a single person. The worst part is he's a pawn. I guess he uses his artificial sacred gears against them since he wants to test it on the actual combat. Hyoudou realized that Issei allowed using his artificial sacred gear as many as he wants. DCK. Why, I didn't think of that. Then they heard another announcement from Graphia. Issei Hyoudou, I would remind you to stop on your love talk at your king during this match, even it's a part of the chant of your spell, that is all. The queens were dumbfounded after they heard the announcement. Akeno giggled. Yufufu, I wonder what spell did he use that requires a love talk. Hyoudou sighed, I've been wondering about that too. Then the queens resumed their fighting. Meanwhile on the bishops. After they heard of Graphia's last announcement. Does that pawn of Sitri use a spell that requires a love talk on his king? Ravel asked. Asia shook her head no. This is the first time I heard about this. Since Ai-san is using Phonicard that requires chanting when he used it, but on the recent announcement, I think Ai-san has used one of his ultimate spells on the last 2 pawns he defeated. I see. Wait, did you just say that pawn used the forgotten lost magic Phonicard? Ravel was surprised that Issei can use the lost magic Phonicard. Asia nods. Yes, he can use them. Ravel-san. Tell me, Asia-san, how did he able to use the other than Phonicard? Yes, Ai-san can use Arcane Art, Strike Art, and lastly the Mysticard. Be capable to use a Mysticard? Yes, Issei-san told me he has 10 Mysticard based Phonicard, yet he didn't tell me how many have on Arcane and Strike based Mysticard he can use. Did you just say 10 Mysticard based on Phonicard? What is strongest Mysticard he has? Raved asked. Asia nods. Yes, Ravel-san, on his strongest Mysticard was called Indignation. Be capable to use strongest Holy Lightning based Mysticard? Oh no. My brother is doomed the moment he used that spell. Ravel was frightened what Issei is capable of. Until someone came in the battle between the queens. Hey, Akeno-san need a help. It was Issei who came. End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys, before you go just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.